That sucked.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Let's do it. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, Wolverine fans too, welcome. Hope everyone's having a great Saturday here. This is going to be a fun one. Actually, it will be for segments 2 and 3. We're going to preview the women's basketball game on Sunday between, Michigan State and Michigan. And, also a top 15 matchup in that sport, too. But it's first things first, it's time to talk about that game last night, Friday night on Fox. Or if you were unfortunately unlucky enough to be at Breslin Center, well, you got to see that with your own eyes as Michigan pretty much takes it to Michigan State. Yeah, that second half comeback was fun. No, I'm not going to get the pom-poms out for that and say, oh, what great resiliency. How about you don't go down 19 points in the first half? How about you actually show up ready to play some physical basketball? And you know what? I'm going to stop myself right there because I already got a little too carried away. I want to be careful when I talk about this game and how the team approached the game, because it was apparent that one team came in more business ready than the other. But I do want to stop myself short from saying like, oh, Michigan State wasn't ready for the moment. Oh, they were just cowards. They were just fearful. This is a grown team that has shown great moments against other great opponents. But man, was that first half, it was perplexing with how they came out. Again, it's way more nuanced than just, oh, they weren't ready. But fascinating there. But look, before we get into all of it and everything that was wrong with Michigan State, let's get the part out of the way that I just don't want to do. Like this is the part that sucks, and that is in a game like that, you just got to give credit to Michigan. Yeah, great. Because that's obviously a great defense. Yeah, Michigan State still has a great defense. I'm not all too worried about the Spartans' defense coming out of that game, but that's certainly an elite defense. And as a whole, when Michigan is playing their A game, which, it was said that for a while that they haven't really looked like their death machine selves since November. Will it ever click? Well, it did. And when it does click for them, it looks like one of the best teams in the nation. And that does not make me smile to say. I don't like saying that, but it is the truth. That is a team that goes 9 deep against a team that goes 7 deep, like Michigan State, apparently. And hey, you know what? In the game of basketball, what helps? When you hit big, timely shots, sometimes it just boils down to something that simple. And Michigan, I lost count of how many big-time shots they hit in that game, whether it was Cadeau nailing a three-pointer, getting to the paint, Moritz Johnson, good God, putting a stack on our heads there down late, or he was just great on both ends of the floor. How about Will Cheddar hitting that what ended up being the dagger 3 at the end, where Michigan State, they had some fun shots during their comeback in the second half, but I would categorize the big shots 1, maybe 2. Obviously, the Kohler 3 was nice. Jordan Scott hit a big shot, but oh man, not many big shots, whether it was to start the game or, finish the game, and that is the sport of basketball. But guys, it isn't just making the shots for Michigan State, which I found what's a step short of infuriating, maddening, annoying, pestering, I guess. I don't know. I should have brought my thesaurus here, but one end of the game is one team made shots, the other one didn't. Also, in order to make shots, I think it helps if you take shots too, right? I mean, I understand Michigan has a very imposing front court. Their defense is incredible. They got a 7'3" guy in the middle of it all. It's not the Monstars though. Like Michigan State caught themselves way too often in the first half where they're doing one too many passes trying to find like almost the perfect shot, and that would lead to one of their 11 turnovers. Or they would get the ball kind of somewhat by the paint and either, reset out of it, which I understand if Mara's there, but to only have, 3-4 layup attempts on the game, in the first half that is, they just didn't, it was a little fearful. I thought it was a little fearful. And what drove me up a wall even more is that you got Michigan in a situation that you probably couldn't even dream of. You had Mara at 2 fouls before 3 minutes even bled off the clock. He even came back out when he was playing, and then he drew a 3rd foul. Oh my God, this guy's in foul trouble already. This is awesome. And I'm not saying you should just go pedal to the metal, run the ball down the middle, and try to cause contact every single drive. But how about sometimes? How about sometimes you see this guy with 2 fouls, 3 early fouls, and let's just try to pin another one on him. Will you get blocked? Yeah, you might. But could you draw another foul? You also might be able to do that. And even when he was on the bench, it played like he was still on the court. Like, get that ball down low. Yeah, sure, they had a few lobs, but man, would a few post touches kill you? Way too reliant on mid-range jumpers. Way too many fadeaway type shots. Like when they did get the ball in the lane and they did have the bravery to try a shot in the paint, it was always fadeaways. Guys, come on, man. Like, look, Jackson Kohler, fine game. Izzo actually said himself after the game that he played Kohler way too much. He played a little over 36 minutes and 12 points, 5 rebounds, 4 of 13 shooting. Obviously, he had that 3-point attempt late in the game where his legs were gone, right? I mean, but also with Jackson Kohler, and just to nitpick here, I love the kid. He's been dynamite for Michigan State so far, but 3-point shooting is like a feature of your game. It's not the mainstay. It's not the only thing you do. Like, I feel like we've gone away from the Jackson Kohler footwork and finishing that we've seen previously. Yes, he is one of the better 3-point shooters on this team, but you can also use your footwork the way that you used to try to go up strong, draw contact. We even had an episode not too long ago where, okay, we're talking about Michigan State's offense. How can it be more efficient? What else can they do? And one thing I pointed out is, well, Jackson Kohler's barely getting to the line. Not to nitpick, but maybe he could do a better job of that, being, more assertive, going up and maybe drawing some contact. That was one game where you could have maybe saw that happen, especially against Mara, who has 2-3 fouls, but whatever. The game goes far just beyond, what I have to say about Kohler, who I'm not worried about him long term. Izzo said that he played him too long, whatever. I'm more focused on this right now, what Izzo said in the post game, and it's something that we all have seen with our eyes the last few games, honestly, maybe even the last few weeks, is that this 2-guard position, yikes. We're going to see a change into the guard here, I think, and Izzo pretty much said as much in the post game press conference, because I'm going to take it back to something I said a few minutes ago. In order to hit big-time shots, in order to drill daggers in your opponent, you need to take the shots, okay? Trey Fort, Divine Ukachukwu, Kurtang, the 3 of them combined had 3 shots. Not made 3 shots. I'm talking just attempted 3 shots. Now, it was pretty apparent that Jordan Scott, okay, it was going to be his night because he took most of the minutes in the end. But when those 3 guys were on the court, I mean, look, before the game, I'm talking with my brother, and credit to him, he said that I got a bad feeling about this game. This game seems like one where you need a really good 2-guard. I just don't know if Michigan State has it. Bingo. Bingo. They were zeros on the game. Jordan Scott, I mean, he was one of your shining moments here. That's awesome, and I think he will get the starting 2 position from here on out. But, oh, man, oh, my. Just ghost for both halves from those other 3 guys that, you're kind of hoping that you can get more on. And I'm sorry to, just be talking this down about guys. Divine saved us last game against Rutgers. He saved us against Penn State. But I also need you for these games. I don't just need you for the Rutgers games and the Penn State games. Oh, man. So, look, there are concerns in this game, and we said before this game, if Michigan State wins this game, I will fully allow myself to believe that this could be a national title team. And, well, everything that we saw in this one is the reason I'm a step short of that. The offense, the 2-guard position, can you be deep enough? Yes, Michigan State, they have gone 8-9 deep traditionally. Didn't seem like they were willing to do so in this game. Understandably so. You wanted your best players on the court at all times. But, man, when the going gets tough in March Madness, can you be a 7-8 deep team, or do you need a little bit more? Now, with this said, I'm not going to go full-blown panic, even though maybe I'm coming off as I am. And that's on me. But truly, if you hooked me up to a polygraph test, I still feel good about this season. I still feel optimistic about this season. Not national title optimistic, but you can still have a good year and maybe at least get to a Final Four, which I still think this team can. Like, this defense, it clearly showed that it can play and keep itself in any game possible. Even looking at the 3 losses here, Michigan, okay, the defense allowed you to make that comeback. Duke, the defense allowed you to keep that one close. Nebraska, obviously, both teams scoring below 60. You've seen the defense. You've seen the reasons why this team can go far. And you also got Jeremy Fears, too. You know what? Like, I get it. Call it unethical, call it whatever. Even if you take his free throws away, the foul baiting away, still a damn good performance from Jeremy Fears. And we talked about it before the game. Is, okay, he's been playing awesome, more momentum than he's ever played with in his career. But boy, whenever he faces a big opponent, like the Nebraska game, he wasn't great. Duke, he wasn't great. Last year's March Madness games, he was just fine. You know, how is he going to perform in the biggest game to date of any regular season game he's played? And he passed the test. Like, this guy's ready to take the keys and drive this Ferrari wherever he wants it to go. He just needs a co-pilot. He needs some guys in the backseat that are also willing to go on this journey with him. So not to call out the toughness or question them, because this is a tough team. It is a tough unit. I was just a little surprised with how they started this game. I get it. Michigan's going to block your shots. Like, they are tall. They are physical. They are an elite front court. You know, you don't have to, like, shriek whenever you get the ball in the paint. You know, you could show up with the physicality and the tenacity in the second half, in the first half next time. I think you can. So it's a bummer, but good news. A lot of season left. We'll see some lineup changes, I bet, and we're just gonna go through the rest of the season. Still a good team, which I firmly believe. Yeah, last night sucked. I wish it happened against another team, like, I don't know, call it Illinois. Just change the jersey. The tone of that game is a lot different. The fact that you were down so soon, you came back, you fought, you tied it, you just ran out of gas. Maybe I would wave the pom-poms a little stronger around it if it was against any other team, but the fact that it was against those guys, yeah, that stings a little extra. So, next up, Minnesota. Wednesday. Your reckoning's coming, Gophers. Whatever. All right, guys, we're going to get to this women's basketball game here because it's going to be an exciting one, Sunday, noon. Hopefully the result can be a little different, but we got the one, the only Dalton Shetler to talk about that. But before we get into all that good stuff, guys, need to talk your ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook because, yes, FanDuel is officially in playoff mode, and every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. The Super Bowl is no different, guys, because for Super Bowl 60, if you bet $5 and win your $5 bet, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. There's only one more game to do this, guys. Can you believe it? I certainly can't. But hey, if you're looking for a same game parlay for one last time, if you're looking for one first or last touchdown score for one last time to ride into the sunset with, get all the action done with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And well, like I said, if you're a new customer, bet $5. If that bet wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. So take advantage of that, guys. There's just one more Sunday left. There's one more. It's heartbreaking. Also, take Seahawks -4.5. I do like that line right now. So, guys, make it count because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. It's last call for football on FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Also, guys, Mazda, because it is time for Mazda's moving the game forward for those who show there's more to the score than what is just on the screen. Now, I know it was a loss, but we got to highlight our player here, and that's the one, the only Jeremy Fears, who I thought delivered. He showed up ready. He was ready to guide this team. 31 points, 7 assists, 4 steals. I know it came in a losing effort, but we got to spotlight our guy here, and this comes after another great game against Rutgers. When it was closing time, he showed up to finish, as many of the other Spartans did against Rutgers, at least. So, guys, that's our Mazda moving the game forward, the one, the only Jeremy Fears. These remind us what it really takes to raise the bar. It's that extra work off the court, dialing in every detail, giving it that extra fire, that grit, and that I never quit. We put that same passion into every model. Highlights make the reel. What it took to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because, well, there's more to you. Yes, it is the familiar voice back, the one, the only Dalton Shetler. And he's not just familiar because he's nice enough to lend us his time here and there on Locked On Spartans. But no, guys, of course, it is the voice of the women's basketball team at the Spartan Media Network because, well, who else would we talk to before this Sunday's matchup? On FS1 at high noon, top 15 Michigan State, top 15 Michigan. And guys, if you don't want to listen to Dalton, if you don't want to watch an FS1, just buy tickets. They're starting at $15 general admission. This is going to be a great showdown, Dalton, because, look, I'm going to put you on the spot. You're a very nice person. You lend me your time, your insight, but I'm going to really just screw you over and put you on the spot with a tough question here.
Great.
Michigan State and Michigan, both top 10 scoring offenses in the nation, top 3 in the Big Ten Conference in steals per game. Dalton, what 3 words would you use to describe this game? Because I'm going to steal 3 of them. I'm going to go with historic, top 15 matchup. That certainly doesn't happen all the time in this matchup. And the other 2 words, electric factory. This is going to be a must-see game. I just cannot wait for this one. So, Dalton, now that you've been put on the spot here, 3 words. What do you got for us?
I'll steal electric.
Okay.
Intense.
Yep, like it.
Defining.
Hey,
and
now.
I think it's defining in a couple of ways. I think it helps to define both of these seasons. Now, look, you win or lose, you zoom out and look at these 2 teams. I mean, you're talking about a number 9 Michigan team that comes in 18-3. They're 9-1 in the Big Ten. I mean, they're having a historic season in Ann Arbor. You're talking about a Michigan State team that's never had this kind of start. The Spartans have never been 19-2 in women's basketball before. They're 8-2 in the Big Ten, ranked 13th in the nation. These 2 programs, Matt, have met, I think it's 103rd. I think it's 103rd meeting between these 2 schools in women's basketball. And last year was the first that both teams were ever ranked at the same time. And it was Michigan State 21, Michigan 24. Mm-hmm. Now this year you have 13-9. We've never seen in women's basketball this high profile, this big of a billing when it comes to Michigan State and Michigan. Look, I know I'm on the Locked On Spartans podcast, so I know what the demographic is in terms of listeners. I know it's Spartan fans. I know you know everything about this rivalry. It's going to be just as intense in between the lines on the women's basketball side. Yeah. This is one that everybody should be really fired up for. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What are the stakes for this game, do you think? Because obviously, you want to stay at the top of the Big Ten, but man, this is such a top-heavy Big Ten season, as it always is in women's basketball. Do you just look kind of further out? Because I don't know. I'm probably on my own island here, but I just think the women's tournament is so unique in the sense that top 4 seeds get to play at their home sites for the first 2 rounds.
Yep.
And who am I kidding? Like, I love all things bracketology, men's and women's, and I'm oogling right now at Michigan State on ESPN's latest bracketology. They have a 3 seed, which means, okay, obviously they would host, hey, a few rounds here at Michigan State. That'd be fun. So that's where my mind goes. You beat Michigan, you keep solidifying yourself as a top 4 seed. Or am I just being like a little baby back, you-know-what? Should I still have the Big Ten regular season title on top of my wish list, Dalton? What are the stakes for this game, in your opinion?
No, I think you're really nailing it. I think that is the clear next step for this program, for Michigan State, because in year 1 of the Robin Fralick era, look, it was a season without much expectation. Robin Fralick comes in, you had lost your top scorer, you lost your top shooter separately, you lost your top post player as well, and you didn't bring a lot in. And that was a team that had missed the tournament. You're thinking, okay, what's this going to be? Yeah. And it ended up being a 7-player rotation with just 2 players being 6 feet tall that got you to the NCAA tournament and finishing 4th in the Big Ten. It was just a magic carpet ride in year 1 of Fralick. Year 2, you get a little bit more expectations. You win an NCAA tournament game for the first time after a brief hiatus for this program. That was the next step. Now the next step is becoming very clearly host NCAA tournament games. You mentioned the top 16 teams get to do that. Charlie Cream of ESPN right now has Michigan State as a 3 seed. If the Spartans can hold that line, it's a really impressive non-conference resume that was undefeated for Michigan State and boasted a win over Clemson, who looks like they're a tournament team, and also a dominating win against a number 15 Ole Miss team at the time by 17 points. And now rolling through the Big Ten season, look, the last 8 games are going to be tough for this regular season. You have Michigan twice. You have to host UCLA. You have to host Maryland. You have to host Ohio State. You've got to go to Minnesota, and you sprinkle in Penn State and Northwestern in that mix, which, by the way, you mentioned tickets. If you want to start jumping on the bandwagon, this month is going to be a great slate of games at the Breslin Center for women's basketball. Like that's a great lineup of home games coming up. But you're right. I think that is it. I think when you take a look at the Big Ten Conference overall, everybody who's really paying attention will tell you that UCLA is the clear favorite. They have there's still a talent gap between UCLA and everybody else. They're still unbeaten at this point in the Big Ten season. They're looking to roll on. They're an actual national championship contender. I think there's 4 of those legitimately between them, South Carolina, Texas, and UConn. I think all 4 of those feel like real national title contenders. Vanderbilt and LSU are knocking on that door, but they're kind of a class of their own right now. But so the next step for the Spartans, can you host NCAA tournament games? And if they can survive this gauntlet this month and kind of hold their own, hold that line, they'll be having games in East Lansing in the NCAA tournament.
God, that'd be electric, especially this early in Robin Fralick's hopefully long career here in East Lansing. I mean, hopefully the WNBA doesn't come calling. I mean, stay right here at home, Robin. Come on. You got a good thing cooking here. So let's talk about this game at noon. And just like we highlighted right at the top of this chat, I mean, both teams just score pretty efficiently. Top 10 scoring offenses in the whole country. I mean, their defenses take a lot of gambles. Michigan's certainly a guard-oriented team. So what is going to be the key for the game here for Michigan State to win this? Michigan State wins this game if they do blank, Dalton. What's at the top of that list?
Well, this is going to be some really just bad analysis for you, but I'll give it to you anyways.
Okay.
I hate to water it down like this, but sometimes it's a make or miss game. And I do believe Michigan has been maybe more consistent when it comes to not having the cold nights, just putting the ball through the rim. I think you give a lot of credit to Michigan State for finding ways to still win big games in nights where they've been cold. When they beat a ranked Nebraska team at home, they only hit 3 threes. And the third one had to come late to tie it up to even make it an opportunity for Michigan State to eke out that win against the Huskers. USC a week ago, Michigan State only hit 3 threes in that game, and 2 of them came late. So for the Spartans, you've got to shoot around your average. And this is a team that before the last 2 weeks had been shooting around 40% from three-point range. They've got to be kind of the standard they are when it comes to scoring the ball. But the other big thing in this one is turnover margin. I think both of these teams have different ways to disrupt opposition. Disruption is a big part of the Robin Fralick blueprint and the chemistry she's brought to East Lansing. It's what she had at Bowling Green before she got to Michigan State. Her last year with Bowling Green, they were 5th in the country in turnover margin. I mean, this is the secret sauce that Robin Fralick will bring wherever she is. It's a huge part of the system for the Spartans. They like to get turnovers. It's what they did in the last game against Purdue. I mean, 8 turnovers in the first quarter led to, I think, 12 points at the end of the first quarter of points off of turnovers. That's if Michigan State really wants to flex its muscle and control the game, they win the turnover margin. They have an average night at least shooting the basketball and just defend well against Michigan Wolverines. And I'll say this too, Matt. I do believe, and I want to kind of make this a PSA for the listeners and the fans. Like you mentioned, noon on Sunday, beginning of February, there is nothing better you can do. There is nothing better in terms of entertainment options. Robin Fralick says there's nothing better on Netflix. There's nothing better on Hulu. There's nothing better you can do than go see this game between Michigan State and Michigan. It's as big as it's ever been in this rivalry's history between these two teams. Go make the difference. I think home court advantage could absolutely play a difference. I really believe Spartan fans can swing this game maybe for Michigan State against Michigan. When we're talking about the margins being this slim, I think the Spartan fans can absolutely turn this game. And that's, I think it's the duty of Michigan State fans. Michigan's coming into the building. Go pack the Breslin Center. 11,000 people came last year. I think it can be better.
Let's give Robin Fralick a belated birthday gift. Come on, show up, folks. I mean, it's a perfect time window for everyone. You don't got to worry about bedtime for the kids. Bring them too. We need the high-pitched screamers in there, Dalton. We need everyone's ears bleeding by the time they walk out of Breslin Center. Look, I do want to highlight a player, and it's the player to highlight for Michigan State. It's the one, the only Grace Van Slooten. And since the calendar's turned to January, there have been 8 games, and Grace has not scored less than 15 points in all these games. I mean, she is on a roll. I kind of feel like this is another game where she can impose her will. Like I said, Michigan, very guard-oriented. That's not to say they don't have a forward on their roster. But with the position she plays, the style she plays, I kind of expect her to have another one of these high-scoring nights. What say you? Are you going to cut against the grain here and say, no, this is going to be more guard dominant, even for Michigan State side, Dalton?
Now, so far, your analysis has been pretty spot on. I think the only thing about it here, Matt, is for Grace Van Slooten, because she is such a unicorn. At 6'3" as a post player, where she's as versatile, as mobile as she is. Look, Grace Van Slooten right now is still in the top 10 in the Big Ten in steals per game as the 5. She's had a steal in every single game this season. Okay. You mentioned the stats she's had in the last 7 or 8 games. She's averaging 17.5 points, 8.5 boards. It's just another day at the office for Grace. Like, you're getting that kind of consistent level of production. She's more physical than a lot of people her size, but she's also a lot faster than anybody her size or bigger. It really presents matchup issues. I think Michigan will be able to throw Del Foss and some others at her, but I think Kim Barnes-Arico, the Michigan head coach, and that staff are going to have to throw multiple things at Grace, try to disrupt in different ways Grace Van Slooten. But I think that's where it starts for the Spartans. I think it has to start through Grace. And if Michigan State can answer or counter whatever Michigan throws at Grace, I think it looks decent for the Spartans on that end of the floor.
Who gets the second brightest spotlight then, right behind Grace? Because right now I have highlighted Kennedy Blair, who wasn't, the greatest night for her a few games ago against Iowa in that loss. But, hey, she's bounced back pretty good, and I would certainly say in West Lafayette against Purdue, 8 points in the first quarter. She had 15 on the entire game. I mean, again, I'll keep on beating it into the ground. Michigan, guard dominant. This is Michigan State's guard right here. So that's where I go, is that Kennedy Blair needs to have her A game or, maybe at worst a B-plus game coming up. What say you? Is there another player that you have another spotlight on?
So Kennedy certainly does deserve this. And honestly, I would just have a tie with Kennedy Blair and Rashonda Jones, or as she's affectionately known, Spider. But Kennedy Blair's been flirting with triple doubles all season and had certainly a great game against Purdue. She's the leading rebounder. She plays with an edge and a flair that this team really needs. I mean, she's got a passion. She's from the state of Michigan. She's from Dearborn. Found her way. She's grown up a Spartan fan her whole life. Perfect. She knows what this rivalry is about. And she is chomping at the bit for this game every year. She gets it. She walks our walk. She talks our talk. She gets us. She's been absolutely productive this season, averaging over 13 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. She's 4th in the Big Ten when it comes to assists per game. She has been one of the more incredible stories that we could talk about another time too, Matt, because this was a former walk-on. She had committed to Robin Freilich at Bowling Green. And then when Robin took the job here, came as a walk-on just because she was a Spartan for life. She said, I can have an opportunity to walk on to the team? Sure. And now she ended up becoming one of the Big Ten's greatest guards in the league in the first 3 years of her career. In the first year, she had to sit out with an injury. I mean, it really is a remarkable story. I know we got so much to tackle too, so I'll keep moving. But the other part too is Rashonda Jones. Spider right now is 2nd in the Big Ten Conference in steals per game, averaging just under 3 steals a contest. She just was named to the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year watch list. She has really been dynamite, really the kind of the snake of everything defensively. But on offense, she's really running the point guard spot. She's getting things set up, getting things put into motion. But quite frankly, man, she's also been the closer this season. Against Clemson in the Bahamas, she went on a stretch in the 4th quarter to win it. Michigan State was having a tough one with Rutgers, and to scratch out and survive, she hits the big bucket. She gets the big play against Nebraska. She gets the big play against Illinois. She has been the closer, simply clutch. Big plays against Oregon, too, where Robin Freilich said afterwards, I swear Spider just levitated in the middle of the lane to hit the game-winning jumper. She has been special. She didn't have her best night last time against Purdue. It was a homecoming for her, transferring from Purdue. So you always wonder how those emotions play. But, Matt, that also was the first time this season that Michigan State beat a Power 4 team without Spider scoring in double figures. Everything else, you can look at it, and Spider had 8 points against Wisconsin, 9 points against Iowa. Those were the 2 losses for Michigan State, and that's it. I mean, Spider has been that critical to Michigan State's success this year.
So before we let you go here, I guess it's a 2-part question. The first part is, are you in the business of throwing predictions out there, or do you do the Kirk Herbstreit thing where it's, I'm calling the game later, I can't offer up an opinion, which I respect. I get it. And the second part to that question, if you are in the business of predictions, Lay it on us. What is it? What do we got here?
I was going to say, sometimes I'll do it when asked, and I'll do it here, but it's not really worth a grain of salt. I mean, honestly, Matt, this is a really good Michigan basketball team.
Yeah.
And it's a really good Michigan State basketball team.
Yep.
I think if we play this game 10 times at a neutral court, I think each team maybe wins 5. I really believe the margins are pretty tight between these two squads, which is what makes this so fun on Sunday. And like I said, makes it a home court advantage needs to be a big part of this.
Yep.
But I'll go with Michigan State. I think it's going to be a game played maybe to the low 70s.
Okay.
So give me 74-71 Michigan State.
I'll take that. We'll absolutely take that, Dalton. Thank you so much for your time, your insight, especially, just off the heels of a travel night over there at Purdue. So happy to have you. As always, you're simply the best. And guys, so are all you, the viewers, the listeners. We will be back most likely on Monday, unless there's any crazy news that breaks between now and then. But guys, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and get to Breslin Center noon. Tickets start at $15, or just try to sneak in. Don't tell them I said that, but just any way you could possibly get through those doors, just go for it. Come on. Let's be somebody. All right, guys, take care of yourselves.